Emily Carter had always believed in fairy tales, but only the realistic kind, love built on trust, respect, and compatibility. At 29, she had her dream job at an architecture firm in Seattle, a cozy apartment overlooking the Sound, and a fiancé who made her feel like the only woman in the world. Nathan Brooks was everything she had hoped for. Tall, well-spoken, and a successful financial consultant, he made her laugh, treated her with kindness, and supported her ambitions. After 2 years of dating, they were engaged. Everything was perfect, except for one thing. Her mother, Margaret Carter. Margaret wasn't just skeptical, she was suspicious. A retired school teacher known for her sharp intuition and no-nonsense approach to life, Margaret believed in testing the people her daughter trusted. And she had a rule: no man marries her daughter without being tested first. "Mom, you're being paranoid," Emily groaned over brunch one Sunday. "You can't just test people like this." "Nathan isn't some math problem," Margaret raised an eyebrow. "Then let's hope he passes." David Carter, Emily's father, chuckled behind his newspaper. "Let her be me. You know how your mother is." Margaret sipped her coffee calmly. "I'm not sabotaging anything. I'm just observing. Love makes people blind. I see what you don't. And what is it that you think you see?" Emily challenged. "I think Nathan is polished. Too polished. I want to know what's underneath." Emily knew her mother wouldn't stop. So she made a deal, one weekend at the family's lake house. Nathan would join them, and if Margaret found nothing wrong, she'd let it go. Margaret smiled. Deal. But she already had a plan. The lake house was 2 hours outside Seattle, peaceful, isolated, and filled with old memories. Margaret had arranged the weekend under the guise of a family getaway. Emily, Nathan, Margaret, David, and even Emily's best friend Lisa were invited. Nathan arrived with his usual charm, offering flowers to Margaret and a bottle of David's favorite wine. "You've got yourself a gentleman," David said. "Let's see how long it lasts," Margaret murmured. Margaret began with small things. She accidentally left a jar of pickles unscrewed to see if Nathan would clean up the spill. He did. She watched how he responded when Emily wasn't around, still kind. She asked him difficult, borderline intrusive questions. He answered with grace. So far, so good. But Margaret wasn't done. That evening, as the family played board games, Margaret suggested a hike the next morning. Nathan agreed. "We'll leave at sunrise," Margaret said with a grin. The hike wasn't just long, it was grueling. Steep trails, muddy paths, and cold winds. Emily and David opted out, leaving Nathan alone with Margaret. "So Nathan," she began as they climbed, "tell me about your past relationships." Nathan chuckled. "That's quite direct." Margaret smiled sweetly. "So, answer directly." He hesitated. "I've had 2 serious relationships. One ended because we grew apart, the other because she cheated." Margaret noted the pause. "And have you ever cheated?" "Never," he said quickly. She raised an eyebrow. "Loyalty is everything." Nathan met her gaze. "I agree," but something in his voice felt rehearsed. Later that night, while everyone was asleep, Margaret checked her emails. As a precaution, she had hired a private investigator 2 weeks prior. She wasn't proud of it, but she had to be sure. The report was in. Nathan Brooks had changed his name legally 5 years ago. His real name was Jason Burke. In his early 20s, he had been involved in a company fraud scandal. Though never charged, he was fired and quietly moved across the country. New name, new city, new life. Margaret's heart pounded. She printed the report and tucked it into her bag. Margaret didn't confront him immediately. She needed proof of character, not just a name. The next day, she asked Lisa for help. "Flirt with him," Margaret whispered. "Subtle. I want to see how he reacts." Lisa was hesitant but agreed. That afternoon, while Emily was taking a nap, Lisa joined Nathan by the dock. "You've got a great smile," she said playfully. Nathan laughed. "Thanks, Lisa." "So do you." She leaned in slightly. "Ever wonder what it would be like if we met before Emily?" Nathan stood up. "You're sweet, Lisa. But I'm in love with Emily. Always have been. Always will be." Margaret saw it all from the porch. He passed. That evening, Margaret called Nathan into the study. "I know your real name is Jason Burke," His expression changed instantly. The calm charm was replaced by shock. "I didn't do anything illegal," he said. "But I did lie about my past." "Why?" Margaret asked. "Because I wanted a fresh start. I was young, naive. I trusted the wrong people and lost everything. I rebuilt my life." "I love your daughter, Margaret." "I'm not that man anymore." Margaret studied him. He wasn't defensive. He was honest. "Tell Emily," she said. "She'll leave me." "No, she'll respect you more." Nathan sat with Emily by the fire. "I have to tell you something," he said, and told her everything from the scandal to the name change. Emily was silent. "You lied," she whispered. "I did," he admitted, "but not to hurt you. To protect what I've built." She got up and walked out, tears in her eyes. That night, Margaret found her daughter sitting on the dock. "You were right," Emily said. "No," Margaret replied. "I was wrong. He made mistakes. But he's not a mistake." Emily looked at her mother. "What would you do?" "Forgive him," Margaret said. "If you still love him." The next morning, Emily found Nathan by the lake. "I don't care what your name used to be," she said. "I care about who you are now." Tears welled in his eyes. "I'll never lie again." "You better not," she said, wrapping her arms around him. From the porch, Margaret smiled. David joined her. "You satisfied?" Margaret sighed. "The best test of a man's character is how he handles the truth." Passed. 2 months later, Emily and Nathan stood at the altar. Margaret gave a heartfelt speech during the reception. "When I first met Nathan, I didn't trust him," she began. "Not because of who he was, but because I didn't know who he was. Today, I know. He's a man who chose truth over comfort, love over fear. And that's the kind of man my daughter deserves." The crowd applauded. Nathan kissed Margaret on the cheek. "Thank you," he whispered. "For what?" she asked. "For testing me." She smiled. "Mother knows best."